everyone for taking the time today. Welcome to our New York Truck Voucher Incentive Program, February 2024 Program Updates webinar. We'll be covering some program updates, giving you a refresher on how the program works, and holding a Q&A and discussion at the end. The slides will be shared with all the registrants after, and this webinar will be recorded and posted to the TVIP website as well. So here's our agenda for today. We're going to start with some quick introductions from our moderators on the call. I'll go ahead and start us off. My name is Sydney Hayes. I am a project manager for CalStart's Northeast Regional Office, who's a consultant for the New York Truck Voucher Incentive Program, and I will turn it over to my colleague, Jennifer.
Thanks, Sydney. Jennifer Kritzler. I'm the Deputy Director in the Northeast Regional Office at CalStart, supporting NYTVIP, and I will turn it over to Adam.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Adam Lamazny. I'm a program manager here at NYTVIP. I oversee the New York Truck Voucher Incentive Program, and thanks for joining us. Kick it over to Natalie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie. I'm the project manager at NYTVIP. I oversee a few programs here, including the New York Truck Voucher Incentive Program. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for joining and welcome.
Turn it over to Paul at CSE.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paul Mallard. I'm an Associate Operations Manager on the New York Truck Voucher Incentive Program, and we help administer the Voucher Help Center, and I'll kick it over to Rebecca Baptiste from CSE as well.
Hi, everyone. I'm a Senior Manager for DER and Transportation Programs at CSE, and I oversee CSE's support of the Voucher Help Center for Truck Voucher.
Eric?
Hi, everyone. My name is Derek Ernschwender. I'm a Senior Associate in Industrial Economics, or IEC. We're a Cambridge, Massachusetts-based firm, and we are on the same contract as CalStart in implementing the program. And you hear from IEC every now and then on the, we're reaching out to participating fleets to collect data on the program. We handle the reporting for the program. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the intros. We will go ahead and get started. Next slide, please. So we will start with a refresher on what the Truck Voucher Program is and how it works. So TVIP funds 100% zero-emission medium and heavy-duty trucks, transit buses, paratransit shuttle buses, and repowers through point-of-sale vouchers. These vouchers reduce the upfront purchase costs and accelerate or eliminate the payback period associated with zero-emission vehicles. The program engages multiple parties, so no one entity bears the full burden of the application process. Next slide, please. These multiple parties include vehicle manufacturers, contractors, which are the dealers or vendors of vehicles, and vehicle fleets. The fleet identifies an eligible vehicle that has been submitted by a manufacturer and purchase it from an eligible contractor. The contractor is then responsible for deducting the voucher amount from the purchase price, and the contractor also submits the voucher application and receives a payment from NYTVIP for the voucher amount. Next slide, please. So Paul and Rebecca already mentioned the Voucher Help Center. So the Voucher Help Center works with NYTVIP to intake and process voucher applications and is a great resource for general inquiries about the program. You can reach them via the email and phone number listed during standard business hours if you need help throughout the voucher process. Next slide, please. I will now turn it back over to Adam for some quick program updates.
Sure, thanks, Sydney. So, for this particular webinar, we have some, we'll be sharing the slides with you. We have some more slides at the end that are more about the practical workings of the program and process for anyone who's interested. We can certainly answer questions about that today, but we really wanted to share, some of the new things that were going on here and everything with that. So one of the bigger updates, which we hope people will be happy with, is starting March 15th, coming up in a couple of weeks, for the class 4 through 8 section of the program for trucks specifically, we'll be increasing the cap for vehicles to 50% of funding. So meaning before we only allowed people to take 25% of funding in that particular category, whether it was Class 8 trucks or Class 4 through 7. Now we've increased that cap to 50%. So really trying to get to see some uptake in that, and hopefully there'll be a welcome change for people that have, perhaps already participated in the program, but looking to increase deployments in their fleets. One other thing on top of that too, as we increase funding over time in that particular category, fleets are entitled to an additional 25% of new funding that might be added. So let's say we add an additional $1 million today. On top of that, you could qualify for up to $250,000. Next slide, please. Another thing that we hope everyone's going to be a little bit happy about is for BEV and fuel cell EV trucks, we're actually increasing the incentive award by a little bit. We know the program has been out for a few years. We posted amounts that were kind of based on market pricing and dynamics at the time, and not to mention inflation has changed over the last few years, amongst other things. So we've worked with our counterparts at the Department of Environmental Conservation and adjusted the rates to be a little bit higher. So through a Class 4, that one does remain the same for it's $100,000. But for Class 8, there's a bit of a bump. We used to max out at $185,000 per truck, but now it goes up to $215,000. Subsequently, in Class 6 through 7, there's about a $10,000 to $15,000 jump to $145,000 and $170,000. Again, we're hoping this to be a little bit more enticing, and we really wanted to try to, get some more funding out there and respond to, market dynamics and things of that nature. Transit buses and paratransit still remain the same. So this is just a change specifically for the Class 4 through 8 trucks. Next slide, please. So 2 other big updates as well. Some people are aware of, but not everybody. As of January 31st of this year, New York Truck Voucher Incentive Program, so this particular program, stopped funding school bus applications. So we funded several million school buses through this program. They were really successful projects and really great. But the state of New York launched the New York Bus Incentive Program, which works very similar to this, but it actually comes from a separate pool of funding, which we have on the street right now, about $100 million. And over several years, we actually have a total of $500 million specifically for school buses. And that's also going to include money for charging infrastructure, for chargers and customer side costs. So if you are interested in your school buses, please look at that program, but you cannot apply to this program for that anymore. The second one as well is the incentive period for port cargo handling equipment is going to be up. We did have a small amount of money set up for this in this program, about just under $1 million. That period will be ending on March 3rd. So if you have any interest in that, definitely please get in contact with us right away. And next slide, please. And then just so everyone has an idea of where the program is at, we started with about $66 million, and we can successfully say that we've gone down quite a bit. So this chart represents what is left in the program, which is total of about $13 million. Now, I will caveat this by saying the Class 4 through 7 trucks and the Class 8 trucks is going to be increased by a few million each over the next month or two. We had some residual funding in the school bus pool that is going to go into that. We're still working out with the Department of Environmental Conservation exactly how much is going to go to each category, but you should expect a few more million in each one of these specifically for Class 4 through 8 trucks. We still have $6 million remaining for transit buses and also $2 million for paratransit shuttle buses as well. So again, please get in touch with us if you have any interest in this funding.
Thanks, Adam. So as you can see, all of the funding remaining comes from the Volkswagen settlement, and this does still require scrappage of a vehicle engine model year 2009 or older. So in the next slide, we'll go ahead and talk about the scrappage process. So vehicle scrappage requires rendering a vehicle inoperable by cutting a 3-inch hole in the engine block and disabling the chassis by cutting frame rails completely in half. a completed NYSDC vehicle scrappage certification, and before and after photos that meet program requirements must be submitted. The scrappage must occur after the voucher application is approved, and a list of eligible scrappage facilities is available on the program website. You may also choose to have a fleet representative attend the scrappage event to ensure it is properly documented. Next slide, please. So because the scrappage requirement has been difficult for some fleets to meet, CalSTART, NYSERDA, and the Trucking Association of New York have collaborated to launch the Connecting Buyers and Sellers initiative. This initiative aims to connect fleets wanting to purchase a zero-emission truck through TVIP, but that do not have a vehicle to scrap in their fleet, with fleets who do have a scrappage-eligible vehicle that they're willing to sell. So just to explain the process, fleets interested in either being matched with a scrappage vehicle to scrap for TVIP or selling their scrappage eligible vehicle can reach out to me at CalSTART, and I'll put my contact information at the end of the presentation here. We'll work with the Voucher Help Center to confirm fleet and vehicle eligibility and attempt to match you with a fleet based on availability and the funding category that your vehicle is in. There's no guarantee that a match will be available right away or within a certain time frame that you may be aiming to meet. And if we are able to match you, both fleets will independently negotiate the selling price of the scrappage vehicle and the delivery process. The purchasing fleet must then re-register the vehicle under their ownership before proceeding with TVIP. The Voucher Help Center will be available during this process to answer questions and confirm eligibility. Next slide, please. Lastly, we'll provide an update on charging infrastructure support. TVIP participants are eligible for the Joint Utilities of New York's medium and heavy duty EV Make Ready pilot, which can provide incentives for up to 90% of utility side infrastructure costs. The total program budget has now increased to $67.5 million. Eligible sites can be both publicly or privately accessible. Privately accessible sites can only be located in a disadvantaged community defined by New York State and must participate in TVIP or other qualifying programs such as the New York City Clean Trucks program or others listed below. If you are participating in TVIP, you can apply for funding through your utility's Make Ready portal once your voucher application has been approved. Next slide, please.
Hey, Sydney, could we just sit on this one just for just a minute?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is just wanted to highlight this for everyone on the call that might be interested. So this is actually kind of a big deal because before this pilot program, some of you might know or might not, existed, and the allotment was $15 million. And it was a bit stricter where you could only apply through this particular program. What the Joint Utilities and the the Public Service Commission in New York did was just a few months ago actually increased it from $50 million to $67.5 million, which is a pretty substantial increase. And this is again to cover a lot of the utility side infrastructure costs. So whether it is transformers, there's conduit, things like that need to happen to upgrade the infrastructure to deploy these vehicles, and which we know is a pretty big pain point with a lot of people. Each utility in New York that participates that's part of the joint utilities does have a different allotment of funds. So not every utility has the same amount, but it's anywhere from $5 million to $20 million that they can provide for this. And just for eligibility concerns, please look up the program online, which we have links here. But this funding is available for both publicly accessible sites, but also privately accessible sites. However, please be sure to look at the criteria if you have a private site. So whether it's your depot location or if it's just your, it's your business, because you do still have to go through this program or a couple other programs which are listed below in this slide. So you're aware of that. So again, it's quite a bit of an increase, and we hope people definitely take advantage of it because it can really make the financial equation much more palatable with the incentive funding from this program and from the utilities as well. And then also just one quick thing too on the slide before related to the buyers and sellers program. Just so everyone's aware, we're really trying to facilitate the scrappage process to be a little bit more flexible. So, if you are, know of fleets that have older vehicles, the 2009 years or older, that are maybe looking to sell them but not necessarily participate in this program, that's okay. You can work with them to acquire those vehicles. Our role would be to help kind of verify that those vehicles do meet the, the scrappage requirements of this program. And feel free to ask us any questions on that, but that's really the point of that, is to get more participation and people aware of that. So please spread the word on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Definitely agree. Would love to have people who have those scrappage eligible vehicles reach out to us as well. That'll help us facilitate some connections. Awesome. We can go ahead and proceed to 2 slides after this. All right, so that concludes the presentation portion of our webinar today. We're now going to open it up for questions. So if you have any questions, please enter them in the chat, and our program staff here will be happy to go through them.
Just to answer the question that was already asked, yes, these slides will be shared with all registered webinar participants, and the recording of today's session will be posted on the NYSERDA website.
While people are thinking of questions, I did want to make one clarification that we said at the beginning of this presentation. It said that we fund repowers. That actually is not correct. We used to, but we had a particular funding line for that allowed it, and that is exhausted. So I just want to be clear that at this time we do not currently fund repowers.
So question coming in from the chat, do you know how much funding is still available from the New York City Clean Trucks program? Adam, I don't know that answer. I'm not sure if you do. We can always get that answer and add that to the information shared here.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but we're happy to put you in touch with someone who can answer that at the program. I believe they were kind of re-kicking off some of it, so we can definitely provide some information of how to get that exact number.
There was another question on where there's a map or online tool to show the New York State disadvantaged communities for charging infrastructure support. And I see that Paul linked that. So if anyone else is interested in viewing that map, it is answered in the Q&A. Another question on if contractors have to be based in or registered in New York. The answer from Paul is that they do not need to be based in New York, but need to demonstrate how they service New York State customers.
Well, we're happy to give it a few more minutes, but also at the same time, we know everyone's time is valuable. So maybe we can hang out here for a couple minutes and then conclude and give everyone their time back. And again, you have our contact information, so a question comes up, please let us know. And just to say, from kind of a broader perspective, we are always on the lookout for adding funding to this program. We know the medium and heavy duty sector is a really important one to New York State, and we are working to spend down our Volkswagen funding, which we've had, but definitely looking for new opportunities, whether it's federal or others, to add to this program. So we also welcome any ideas on that as well, and open to collaboration.
And just to recap, while we wait to see if there are any more questions, the contact information for the Voucher Help Center is listed here. And then if anyone is interested in either selling a scrappage eligible vehicle or inquiring about being matched with one, you can contact me at shayes@calstart.org, information listed there. And please be sure to spread the word to any fleet contacts as well about that program. We really appreciate it. Just to read one more question that came in, would school buses be acceptable to scrap under this program? In other words, can we sell older buses to someone that needs them? So school buses can be scrapped, but for participation in NYTVIP, which is the New York School Bus Incentive Program that just launched. So that's no longer applicable to the Truck Voucher Incentive Program.
Yeah, just to add, this program we're scrapping, it's kind of a one-to-one equation. So if you have a class, generally you're getting a Class 8 truck, you're scrapping a Class 8 truck, or it's truck for a truck, bus for a bus, that kind of thing.
Thank you to Emily and Barbara for sharing information about the New York City Clean Truck Program. We can add those links to the presentation before we share those in an appendix so that everyone has those.
All right, any other questions before we wrap up today? All right, well, happy to give some time back. And as Adam mentioned, please feel free to reach out if you do think of any questions after the webinar. The slides will be sent to all registrants and a recording will be available on the TVIP website afterwards. Thank you all for taking the time with us today. We really appreciate it and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks everyone for joining. Have a good day.